A very good morning to all. Recommendations of 53rd GST Council meeting. GST Council recommends waiving interest and penalties for demand notice issued under Section 73 of CGST Act. That is the case not involving fraud, suppression, or willful misstatement, etc., for the fiscal year 1718, 1819, 1920, if the full tax remind is paid up to 31st March 2025. GST Council recommends the time limit to avail input tax credit with effect from any invoice or debit note under Section 16, Class 4 of the CGST Act through any GSTR 3B returns filed up to 30th November 2021 for the financial year 1718, 1819, 1920, 2021 may be deemed to be 30th November 2021. The Council has recommended monetary limit of Rs 20 lakhs for GST Appellate Tribunal, Rs 1 crore for High Court, Rs 2 crores for Supreme Court for filing the of appeal of the department to reduce litigation. GST Council recommends the reduction of quantum of pre-deposits required to be paid for filing of appeal under the GST. GST Council recommends amending provisions of CGST Act to provide that the 3-month period for filing the appeals in the GST Appellate Tribunal will start from the date to be notified by the government. To ease the interest burden of the taxpayers, GST Council recommends to not levy interest under Section 50 of the CGST Act in case of delayed filing of returns on account which is available in electronic cash ledger on the due date of filing the said returns. GST Council recommends a sunset clause from April 1st, 2025 for the receipt of any new application for anti-profiteering. GST Council recommends the exemptions from compensation says leviable on imports in SEZ by the SEZ units or developer for authorized operation from 1st July 2017. GST Council recommends 12% GST on milk cans, steel, iron, aluminum, irrespective of use, cartoon boxes and cases of both corrugated and non-corrugated paper or paperboard, solar cookers, whether single or dual energy source, and sprinklers, including fire water sprinklers. GST Council recommends exemption of certain services provided by Indian Railways to common man and also intra-railway supplies. GST Council recommends the certain exemptions related to the accommodation services, providing service relief to the students and working professionals. GST Council recommends to roll out by biometric based Aadhaar authentication of registration application applicant on the pan India basis in a phased manner. The 53rd GST Council met under the chairmanship of Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman in New Delhi today. The meeting was also attended by union ministers and the state ministers. The GST Council intra alia made the following recommendations relating to changes in GST rates, measures for facilitation of trade, and measures for streamlining the compliance in GST. Changes in the GST tax rates. The first point is recommendation relating to GST rates on goods. The changes in GST rates of goods, a uniform rate of 5% IGST will be applicable to imports of parts, components, testing equipment, tools, and toolkits of aircraft, irrespective of their HS classification to provide a flip to MRO activities subject to specified conditions. All milk cans of steel, iron, and aluminum, irrespective of their use, will attract 12% GST. GST rates on cartoon boxes and cases, both corrugated and non corrugated paper or paperboard, HS 4819 to be reduced from 12% to 18% to 12%. To be reduced from 18% to 12%. All solar cookers, whether single or dual energy source, will attract 12% GST. To amend existing entry covering poultry keeping machinery attracting 12% GST to specifically incorporate parts of poultry keeping machinery and to regularize the past practice on as is where is basis in view of G9 interpretational issues. To clarify that all types of sprinklers, including fire water sprinklers, will attract 12% GST and to regularize the past practice on as is where is basis in view of G9 interpretational issues. To extend IGST exemptions on import of specified items for defense forces for further period of 5 years till 30th June 2029. To extend IGST exemptions on import of research equipments or bonus imported under the research mode area for African, Asian, Australian monsoon analysis and prediction Rama program subject to specified conditions. To exempt composition cess on import in SEZ by SEZ units or developers for the authorized operations with effect from 1st July 2017. Other miscellaneous changes to exempt composition cess on supply for aerated beverages and energy drinks to authorized customers by unit run canteens under the Military of Defense to provide ad hoc IGST exemptions on imports of technical documentation for AK-203 rifle kits imported for Indian Defense Forces. Recommendations relating to the GST rates on services to exempt the services provided by the Indian Railways to the general public, namely the sale of platform tickets, facility of retiring rooms or waiting rooms, clock rooms, services, and battery operated car services, and to also exempt the intra railway transactions. The issue for past periods will be regularized from 2010-23 to the date of issuance of exemption notification in this regard. To exempt GST on services provided by the special purpose vehicles to Indian Railways by way of allowing Indian Railways to use infrastructure built and owned by SPV during the concessional period and maintenance service supplied by Indian Railways to SPV, the issue for past will be regularized on as is where is basis for the period from 1st July 2017 till the date of issue of exemptions notification in this regard. To create separate entry in the notification number 12/2017 under the heading 9963 to exempt accommodation services having value of supply of accommodation up to rupees 20,000 per month per person subject to the condition that the accommodation services is applied for minimum continuous period of 90 days to extend similar benefits for past cases. Other changes relating to services: co-insurance premium apportioned by the lead insurer to the co-insurer for the supply of insurance services by lead and co-insurer to the insured in co-insurance agreement be declared as no supply under the Schedule 3 of CGST Act 2017, and the past cases may be regularized as is varies basis. Transactions of ceiling commission or reinsurance commission between the insurer and the reinsurer may be declared as no supply under the Schedule 3 of CGST Act 2017, and the past cases may be regularized as is varies basis. GST liability on reinsurance services or specified insurance scheme covered by serial number 35 and 36 of the notification number 12/2017 may be regularized as its varies basis for the period from 1st July 2017 to 24 January 2018. The GST liability on reinsurance services of the insurance scheme for which the total premium is paid by the government that are covered under the serial number 40 of the notification number 12/2017 may be regularized on as is varies basis for the period from 1st July 2017 to 26 July 2018 to issue clarification that restores essential to the reinsurance of reinsurance and therefore eligible for exemption under the serial number 36A of the notification number 12/2017 to issue clarification that the statutory collection made by the real estate regulatory authority are exempt from the GST as they fall within the scope of entry 4 of the notification number 12/2017 dated 28 June 2017 to issue clarification that the further sharing of incentive by acquiring bank with other stakeholders where the sharing of such incentive is clearly defined under the incentive scheme for promotion of rupee debit card and low value beam UPI scheme and is declared decided in proportion and manner by NPCI in consultation with the participating bank is not taxable. Measures for facilitation of the trade. Insertion of the section 128A in the CGST Act to provide for conditional waiver of interest or penalty or both relating to the demand raised under the section 73 for the financial year 1718 to 1920. Considering the difficulties faced by the taxpayers during the initial years of implementation of GST, the GST Council recommends waiving interest and penalty for the demand notice issued under the Section 73 of the CGST Act for the financial year 1718, 18, 19, 19, 20 in cases where the taxpayers pay the full amount of the tax demanded in the notice and up to 31st March 2025. The waiver does not cover the demand of enormous refund. To implement this, GST Council has recommended insertion of the Section 128A in the CGST Act 2017. Reduction of the government litigation by fixing monetary limit for filing appeal under the GST. The Council recommended to prescribe monetary limits subject to certain exclusions for filing of appeal in GST by the department before the GST Appellate Tribunal, High Court, and Supreme Court to reduce the government litigation. The following monetary limits have been recommended by the Council. The say the Tribunal rupees 20 lakhs, High Court rupees 1 crore, Supreme Court rupees 22 crores. Amendment in Section 107 and Section 112 of the CGST Act for reducing the amount of pre-deposit required to be paid for filing appeal under the GST. The Council recommended reducing the amount of pre-deposit for filing the appeal under the GST to ease the cash flow and working capital blockage for the taxpayers. The maximum amount for filing the appeal with the appellant authority has been reduced from rupees 25 crores CGST and rupees 25 crores HGST to rupees 20 crores CGST and rupees 20 crores HGST. Further, the amount of pre-deposit for filing the appeal under the appellant tribunal has been reduced from 20% with maximum amount of 50 crores CGST and rupees 50 crores HGST with the maximum of 20 crores and 20 crores HGST. The applicability of goods and service tax on extra neutral alcohol taxation of ENA under the GST. The GST Council in its 52nd meeting had recommended to amend GST law to explicitly exclude rectified spirit or extra neutral alcohol from the scope of GST when supplied for manufacturing alcoholic liquor for human consumption. GST Council now recommended the amendment in the subsection 1 of the section 9 of the CGST Act 2017 for not levying the GST on the extra neutral alcohol used for the manufacture of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. Reduction in the rate of TCS to be collected by the ECO from the supplies being made to them. Electronic commerce operators are required to collect tax collected at source on the net taxable supplies under the Section 52 Class 1 of the CGST Act. The GST Council has recommended to reduce the TCS rate from present 1%, 0.5% CGST, 0.5% HGST, or 1% IGST to 0.5%, that is 0.25% CGST, 0.25% HGST, or 0.5% to ease the financial burden on suppliers making the supplies to such eco. The time for filing the appeal in the GST Appellate Tribunal, the GST Council recommended amending the Section 112 of the CGST Act 2017 to allow the 3 months period for filing the appeal before the Appellate Tribunal to start from the date to the be notified by the government in respect of appeal or revisions order passed before the date of such said notification. This will give the sufficient time to the taxpayers to file appeal before the appellate tribunal in the pending cases. Relaxation in the conditions of the Section 16 Class 4 of the CGST Act in respect of initial years of implementation of GST, that is the financial year 1718, 1819, 1920, 2021, the GST Council recommended that the time limit to avail input tax rate in respect of any invoice or debit note under the Section 16 Class 4 of the CGST Act through any returns in the Form 3B filed up to 30th November 2021 for the financial year 1718, 1819, 1920, 2021 may be deemed to be 30th November 2021 for same. The request amendment in the Section 16 Class 4 of the CGST Act retrospectively with effect from 1st July 2017 has been recommended by the Council with respect to the cases where the returns have been filed after revocation. The GST Council recommended retrospective amendment in the Section 16 Class 4 of the CGST Act to be made effective from 1st July 2017 to conditionally relax the provision of the Section 16 Class 4 of the CGST Act in case where the returns for the period from the date of cancellation of the registration or effective date of cancellation of the registration till the date of revocation of cancellation of the registration are filed by the registered person within 30 days of the order of revocation. The changes in the due date for filing the returns in the form GSTR4 for composition taxable taxpayers from the 30th April to 30th June. The GST Council recommended an amendment in the Class 2 of the subsection 1 of the Rule 62 of the CGST Rules 2017 and the Form CGST GSTR 4 to the extent the due date for filing the returns in the form GSTR 4 for composition taxpayers from 30th April to 30th June following the end of the financial year. This will apply for the returns for the financial year 24-25 onwards. The same would give more time to taxpayers who opt to pay tax under the composition levy to furnish the said returns. Amendment of the Rule 88B of the CGST Rules 2017. In respect of interest under the Section 50 of the CGST Act on the delayed filing of returns in cases where the credit is available in the electronic cash ledger on the due date of filing the said returns, the GST recommended amendment in the Rule 88B of the CGST rules to provide that an amount which is available in electronic cash ledger on the due date of filing of the returns in the form GSTR 3B and is debited while filing the said return shall not be included while calculating the interest under the section 50 of the CGST Act in respect of the delayed filing of the said returns. Insertion of the section level A in CGST Act for granting powers not to recover duties not levied or short levied as a result of general practice under the GST Act. GST Council recommended inserting a new section level A in the CGST Act to give powers to the government on the recommendation of the Council to allow regularization of non-levy or short levy of GST where the tax was being short paid or not paid due to the common trade practices. The refund of additional integrated tax paid on account of upward revision in the price of goods subsequent to the export, the GST Council recommended to prescribe a maximum mechanism for claiming the refund of additional IGST paid on account of upward revision in the price of the goods subsequent to their export. This will facilitate a large number of taxpayers who are required to pay additional IGST on account of upward revision in the price of the goods subsequent to the export in claiming the refund of such additional IGST. Clarification regarding valuation of supply of import of services by a related person where the recipient is eligible to full input tax credit. The council recommended to clarify that in case where the foreign affiliate is providing certain services to the related domestic entity for which full input tax credit is available to said related domestic entity, the value of such supply of services declared in the invoice by the said related domestic entity may be deemed as the open market value in terms of the second proviso to the Rule 28 Class 1 of the CGST rules. Further, in cases where the full input tax credit is available to the recipients if the invoice is not issued by the related domestic entity with respect to any services provided by the foreign affiliate to it, the value of such services may be deemed to be declared as nil and may be deemed as open market value in terms of the second proviso to the Rule 28 Class 1 of the CGST rules. Clarification regarding availability of input tax credit on ducts and manholes used in the network of optical fiber cables. The Council recommended to clarify that input tax credit is not restricted in respect of ducts and manhole used in the network of optical fiber cables under the Class C or Class D of the subsection 5 of the Section 17 of the CGST Act. Clarification on the place of supply applicable for custodial services provided by banks. The Council recommended to clarify that the place of supply of custodial services provided by Indian banks to the foreign portfolios investors is determinable as per the Section 13, Class 2 of the IGST Act 2017. Clarification on valuation of the corporate guarantee provided between the related person after insertion of the section rule 28(2) of the CGST rules 2017. The GST Council recommended amendment of the Rule 28 Class 2 of the CGST rule retrospectively with effect from 26 October 23 and issuance of the circular to clarify various issues regarding valuation of services of providing corporate guarantee between the related parties. It is intra alia been clarified that the valuation under the section rule 28 class 2 of the CGST rules would not be applicable in case of export of such services and also where the recipient is eligible for full input tax rate. Clarification regarding the applicability of the provisions of the Section 16 Class 4 of the CGST Act 2017 in respect of invoices issued by the recipients under the reverse charge mechanism. The Council recommended to clarify that in case of supplies received from unregistered supplier where the tax has to be paid by the recipients under the reverse charge mechanism, an invoice is to be issued by the recipients only the relevant financial year for the calculation of the time limit for the availment of the input tax credit under the provisions of the section 16 class 4 of the CGST Act is the financial year in which the invoice has been issued by the recipients. Clarification on following issues to provide clarity to trade and tax officers and to reduce litigation. Clarification on the taxability of reimbursement of securities or shares by the ESOP, ESPP, or RSU provided by the company to its employees. Clarification on requirement of reversal of input tax rate in respect of amount of premium in the life insurance services which is not included in taxable value as per the Rule 2032 Class 4 of the CGST rules. Clarification on the taxability of wig and salvage value in the motor insurance claim. Clarification in respect of warranty or extended warranty provided by the manufacturer to the end consumers. Clarification regarding availability of input tax rate on the repair expenses incurred by the insurance companies in case of reimbursement mode of settlement of motor vehicle insurance. Clarification on the taxability of loans granted between the related person or between the group companies. Clarification on the time of supply of annuity payment under the HAM provision projects. Clarification regarding time of supply in respect of allotment of spectrum to the telecom companies in cases where the payment of license fee and the spectrum usage charges to be made in installment. Clarification relating to place of supply of goods supplied to the unregistered person where the delivery address is different from the billing address. Clarification on mechanism for providing evidence by the supplier for the compliances of the conditions of the section 15 class 3 class B class 2 of the CGST Act 2017 in respect of the post sales discount to the effect that input tax rate has been reversed by the recipient on the said amount. Clarification on the various issues pertaining to the special procedure for the manufacture of the specified commodities like pan masala, tobacco, etc. The Council recommended amendment in the Section 140 Class 7 of the CGST Act retrospectively with effect from 1st July 2017 to provide the transitional credit in respect of invoices pertaining to the services provided before the appointed date and where the invoice were received by the input service distributor before the appointed date. The Council recommended providing the new optional facility by way of Form GSR 1A to facilitate the taxpayers to amend the details in the Form GSR 1 for the tax period and to declare the additional details, if any, before the filing the return in the Form GSR 3B for the said tax period. This will facilitate the taxpayers to add any particulars of supply of the current tax period missed out in the reporting in the form GSR 1 of the said tax period, or to amend any particulars already declared in the form GSR 1 of the current period tax period, including those declared in IFF for the first and the second month of the quarter, if any, for the quarterly taxpayers, to ensure the correct liability is auto-populated in GSR 3B. The Council recommended that the filing of annual return in the form GSTR 9 or 9A for the financial year 23-24 may be exempted for the taxpayers having aggregate annual turnover up to 2 crores rupees. Amendment was recommended to be made in the section 122 class 1B of the CGST Act retrospectively with effect from 1st October 2023 so as to clarify that the said penal provision is applicable only for those e-commerce operators who are required to collect tax under the section 52 of the CGST Act and not for e-commerce operators. The council recommended amendment in the Rule 142 of the CGST rules and issuance of the circular to prescribe a mechanism for or adjustment of an amount paid in respect of the demand through form DRC 03 against the amount to be paid as a pre-deposit for filing the appeal. Other measures pertaining to law and procedures, rolling out of biometric based Aadhaar authentication on the all India basis. The GST councils recommended to roll out the biometric based Aadhaar authentication of the registration application on the pan India basis in a phased manner. This will strengthen the registration process in GST and will help in combating fraudulent input tax credit claims made through fake invoices. Amendment in the section 73 and 74 of the CGST Act 2017 and insertion of the new section 74A in the CGST Act to provide for common time limit for issuance of the demand notice and orders, irrespective of whether the case involves fraud, suppression, willful misstatement, etc., or not. Presently, there is a different time limit for issuance of demand notice and demand orders. In cases where the charges of fraud, suppression, willful misstatement, etc., are not involved, in cases where those charges are involved, in order to simplify the implementation of those provisions, the GST Council recommended to provide for the common time limit for the issuance of the demand notice and orders in respect of the demand for the 24-25 onwards in cases involving charges of fraud, willful misstatement, and not or involving the charges of fraud, willful misstatement, etc. Also, the time limit for the taxpayers to avail the benefit of the reduced benefit by paying the tax demanded along with interest has been recommended to be increased from 30 days to 60 days. The Council recommended amendment in the Section 171 and Section 109 of the CGST Act 2017 to provide a sunset clause for anti-profiteering under the GST and to provide for handling of anti-profiteering cases by the principal bench of the GST Appellate Tribunal. The Council has also recommended that the sunset date of 1st April 2025 for the receipt of any new application regarding anti-profiteering. Amendment in the Section 16 of the IGST Act and the Section 54 of the CGST Act to curtail refund of IGST in cases where export duty is payable. The Council recommended the amendment in the Section 16 of IGST Act and the Section 54 of the CGST Act to provide that the refund in respect of the goods which are subjected to the export duty is restricted irrespective of whether the goods are exported without payment of tax or with payment of tax, and such restrictions should be applicable if such goods are supplied to SEZ developers or SEZ unit for authorized operation. The threshold for reporting B2C interest rate supplies invoice wise in Table 5 of the Form GSR 1 was recommended to be reduced from 2.5 lakhs to 1 lakh. The Council recommended that the return in the Form GSR 7 to be filled by the registered person who are required to deduct tax at source under the Section 51 of the CGST Act is to be filed every month irrespective of whether any tax has been deducted during the said month or not. It has also been recommended that no late fee may be payable for the delayed filing of nil form GSR 7 returns. Further, it has been recommended that the invoice wise details may be required to be furnished in the said form GSR 7 returns. Thank you very much, friends. Today we have discussed the 53rd GST Council meeting and many changes have happened. Please take a note of the same and implement in your working.